Hello and welcome to On the Rocks, a fans podcast where we discuss all things BRTFC. And I'm your host, Liam Goodley. This podcast and our media team are sponsored by Mitchell's Travel. Call Mitchell's Travel today on 01243 939 555 and quote Rocks 1883 to get a great deal and help the football club in the same process. Mitchell's Travel are proud sponsors of On the Rocks. Today on the show, I am pleased to be joined by Rocks superfan and Rocks radio commentator, Peter Kelly-Sullivan. Thanks for joining me, Peter. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Liam. It's a pleasure to join you, as I haven't seen you for so long. So, yeah, it'll be good to have a good chat with you, talking about my experiences with Wagner.
Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it? Obviously, another lockdown and another, hopefully we're coming out of that soon by, I think the official date is June 21st. But how have you been coping during this current lockdown with no Bognor football to enjoy?
Well, I've still been working. I'm a key worker, so I've been working still, which isn't too bad. So I haven't been that bored. But of course, I'm missing the football. I'm missing seeing everyone, missing commentating, missing seeing all the players and the management. But hopefully we can all be back to normal soon as everyone's getting vaccinated slowly but surely. Hopefully by June, we can start playing our pre-season. And then we can go from there, really. And then if it all goes well, the league may start in August, September time, which is what everyone's hoping for, because I think everyone is missing the football.
Yeah, so, certainly are.
And
we're certainly missing it. And how has the pandemic and the lockdown affected you? I know you said you're still working, but how has it affected you the most?
Well, it's not really affected me. Even though I tested positive in December, but I wasn't symptomatic, so that was a bit of a shock. But I recovered well. I've had my first jab. I've got my second jab coming up in April, so that'll be good. And been helping out with my mum. Unfortunately, she got diagnosed with breast cancer again. So I've been helping her, taking her to appointments and to Worthing Hospital. I've basically been at Worthing Hospital as many times as I've been at home, probably. But thankfully, she's recovering well. So, I'm just hoping. Also, I've been training for my marathon. As you know, I'm doing Lee.
Yes, I heard about that. You talked about that on the coach when we were last on that.
Yeah, I'm doing the Brighton Marathon in September, which I'm running for Cancer Research UK, because it's the second time she's had it. This came back after 11 years. So I just want to help out, really, and raise as much money as I can. And just been training for that. So hopefully I can get through it with no injuries. I'm sure I will. But yeah, just a positive mindset, really.
Yeah. Let us know how people can donate to the cause.
Yeah, I've got a link on my Instagram and Facebook. I will tell you that at the end. I'll tell you my links and stuff. I will put it on my Twitter as well.
Okay.
I know the media team kindly shared it on Twitter, and I did receive a few donations, which I'm really, really grateful for, because although I'm useless with names, so as soon as I see you, if you mention to me that you sponsor me, that'll be great, and I can thank you in person. But yeah, if anyone wants to donate, feel free. Like I say, anything, I would take anything, £1, £2, anything, because it all goes to a good cause, and it's going to spur me on it to get to that finish line.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know if I've already donated, but if I haven't, I'll make sure I get on there, Pete, and donate some money to it, because it's a great cause, of course, and hope it all goes well. I hope it's not going to be affected by anything. Obviously, by June, hopefully everything should be back to pretty much normal, we hope.
Well, yeah, it's in September, but judging by the Brighton, everyone protesting at Brighton yesterday, and hopefully that doesn't affect anything.
Yeah, and this is what could affect it, isn't it? These groups of people, okay, they're peacefully, protesting, but at the same time they could still be, spreading the virus.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, and because I'm a support worker too, so I work in a care home with vulnerable adults. So I've had to be really careful during the pandemic because, of course, I can't go risking meeting people and taking it into work because all of our home got badly affected by it anyway. So, yeah, hopefully by June, we can start getting back to some normality. It's going to take time, even after June. There's still going to be protocols in place and social distancing, but at least we can enjoy some of the summer.
Yeah, I think things indoors will still be affected. I think outdoor things will become a lot easier, but the indoor things. I mean, I work at a theatre and a cinema, and they have put really good measures in place to, protect people wearing masks and social distancing. I think that'll be in place for at least another year yet. But all the other things, I think people will be able to do. So sports and things like that, hopefully, should be back soon. And being a keen badminton player like myself, I want to get back playing again because it's been over a year since I last played. So, but again, another season cut short, Peter. And what are your views on the season being null and voided again? And do you see a definite return to football this coming July, August?
Well, to cut it short, I think it had to be the right decision. We can't cut one season short and not another when there's been more cases. So, yeah, I think it was the right thing to cut it short. How it got cut short is unfortunate, of course, due to Bognor playing quite well, gelling quite well, players playing well, and the management starting to find their team, their starting 11. But hopefully by August, by the end of May, hopefully we can start playing football, friendlies and stuff, and we can get back into the league football by August. I've got my fingers crossed because I think everyone wants that to happen.
Yeah, of course. And Bognor played their last game of this past season in cup action, losing away to Malden and Tiptree in the FA Trophy with a late goal, spoiling it for the Rocks in a 2-1 defeat. I was there doing the commentary with you on Rocks Radio. What were your views on the game, Peter?
Well, I think I said it to everyone on the coach. I thought Malden and Tiptree was going to be better than they were, judging by their league form and their cup form last year in the FA Cup. But I thought Bognor matched them. We matched them for the whole 93, 94 minutes until that unfortunate last, couple of minutes before the end, that goal, which I think everyone in that ground thought it was going to penalties, including me and yourself, didn't we?
Because it was we both did, yeah.
It was freezing that night, so I was hoping that Bognor could snatch a winner. Because, of course, Hornchurch, who Malden and Tiptree went on to play in the next round into the final. So, fair play to Hornchurch. But, yeah, no, it's one of the matches, Liam, where it was a frustrating evening for everyone, wasn't it?
Certainly was. And it was a rather tumultuous evening, having the players and fans both turn up late due to the massive delays getting to and eventually through the Dartford Tunnel. The match had already kicked off before we got there, and there didn't appear to be any delays on kick-off time, which can't have helped the players. Would you agree that this didn't help?
Oh, well, of course, as I said in the interview with Jack afterwards, I asked him the question about how does he and the players feel about it being played on a Tuesday night instead of a Saturday afternoon. And Jack said it exactly how it is. He said he's a young manager. He's obviously not really learned like the fairness of it all. Of course, if it was Bognor, maybe we might have done it on a Tuesday night, but going on that Dartford Tunnel at that time in the day and getting stuck there for an hour and a half, rushing to the ground, we didn't even have time to set up. We just had to sit anywhere we could. And then the battery went on the radio, and then it was all pretty much all rushing around. But thankfully, the radio came back on. But
I listened back to it, Peter, recently, and there's no interruption at all. So you could hear us the whole way through that 5 minutes where we were trying to get the phone back on. So it must have latched onto another internet provider during that period when my phone went dead. So that was probably why. I don't know how it did that, whether it used your internet for a period and then, used somebody else's. I'm not sure. But for some reason, we never got interrupted at all, according to the recording there.
Yeah, we really appreciate all of the listeners we get on there because we get some really good feedback. And on that night, we had really good. I think we had 158 listeners or something.
Yeah.
Which was
Yeah, it was good because particularly I find on the away games, that's when people tend to tune in because for whatever reason they can't get to the game, particularly on a Tuesday night. It can be difficult for most people, obviously, with work and everything. So I think people really appreciate it being on, and particularly in the midweek games.
Yeah, well, going back to the journey, of course, I had to start the commentary from the supporters coach, which I think was the first time it's ever been done. But that was an experience. Everyone and the coach singing, and everyone like saying their thoughts on Bognor, which was nice.
Yeah, and the comments section on it actually really helps, doesn't it, with the engagement and talking points as well, even if you're not actually at the game yet. Like that was a first, definitely.
Yeah, well, we had people saying the team news on there to help out. We had people like writing it down, which always helps. Thankfully, we had Carl at the ground keeping us up to date with stuff. As we got told, the kickoff would be delayed by 10 minutes. So we got there about 6 or 7 minutes into the game, thinking that it still wouldn't have been kicked off.
Yeah.
But it had. So they obviously didn't delay the kickoff, which was annoying. But I'm glad we managed to get the commentary on, and we got some really good comments, which we all appreciate them. So
yeah, it was funny because when I came in behind you, and I think you got in there, and I was trying to get in there. I had some trouble at the gate trying to get in, and then I couldn't find you, so I looked round the stand, and then I saw you at the front of the stand. So luckily they were doing distancing, but they were doing 2 seats together. So luckily you had a seat next to you, and I just parked myself there very quickly, got my tablet out, and started typing because obviously I'd missed. I had to turn the tablet on and make sure everything was working there as well. But yeah, it was a bit of a rush of an evening, but it was a good match and both hotly contested, by both sides. Good chances on both ends. Unfortunately, obviously, we didn't get the win. And looking back, maybe it wouldn't have gone ahead anyway. I don't know. But the following Saturday, back at Bognor, but obviously Malden area went into Tier 4 later that night, and we just beat the curfew, I believe. So that was quite an evening anyway. So tell us a little bit about you, how you became a fan, Peter, and Bognor, and how did you start following the Green Army?
Well, I've always followed some non-league football. I lived in London since born till I was 16, and then I moved down to Surrey, and then moved to Barnham in Bognor, coming up to 5 years in November ago. So what I'd done, we moved in November 2016. I went on my phone, had a look at the local teams to see what matches were on and stuff. And I ended up Googling it, and it came up that Bognor versus Kingstonian was on Tuesday, the 26th of November 2016. So I thought, I'll go to that and see how I enjoy it. And I remember getting to the ground early, buying a Bognor scarf, because it was a pretty cold evening that evening. And ever since then, thankfully, we won the match 2-0. Goals from Ollie Pierce and Darren Budd.
Yeah.
So yeah, since then I've been an avid fan. I can't get enough of it, really, Liam.
Yeah. So describe your feelings during that first game at Kingstonian. What kept you coming back after that?
Well, I remember I didn't know where to stand really or to sit, but I went round to the halfway line, which is where I met you, and I met you and a few of the other lads. Stood on the halfway line and watched it from there. I got chatting to a few fans, a few old, a few young, which was nice as it's such a diverse club and a family club. So yeah, ever since then, it just felt like a really good vibe at the ground. Very well-run club, family club. Everyone was welcoming, So yeah, and then I kept going back. Couldn't get enough.
What games particularly do you remember most vividly, Peter? And what are your best memories so far following the team?
Well, of course, the Untitled Chapter playoff final, where unfortunately I was in Cyprus. I had a holiday to Cyprus, which was annoying, but I was up to date because my mate, I mentioned my mate Matt Drage. He is one of my best mates. I started following non-league football because of him, really, because he's played for Tooting and Mitcham, Kingstonians, Eastbourne Borough.
Of course.
Dulwich Hamlet himself, and of course he was at fault for Bogner's second goal, where he went to clear it and he sliced it, and it went through to Ollie Pearce, and Ollie Pearce scored. So yeah, he got a lot of stick from me for that, saying thanks Matt for the second goal. But yeah, no, I've been to go and watch non-league football in London at Dulwich Hamlet, Tooting and Mitcham to support Matt really, and then since Bognor, I haven't followed anyone else because it's my local team now. I'm permanent here, so I'm going to follow them for the foreseeable future.
Would you say you're settled in the Bognor area now, Pete?
Oh yeah, 100%. I do love it down here. Coming from London, it's a much more calmer lifestyle. I've got a decent job, met some decent people, got some decent areas to take my dog out, go running, you know. It's just like a nice place. In London, if you say hello to someone, they'll probably ignore you. But down this way, you say hello, people say hello back, which is nice. You meet nice people. I've got the nice Marylans pub opposite me. I live next to the butchers. I've got everything I need in this area, really, Liam.
Yeah, so it's all on your doorstep. And just looking over the past 2 cut-short seasons, Peter, who would you say has been your favourite player?
Oh, that's a tough one. I was thinking of this when you sent me the questions. I was thinking there's been there's been 2 or 3, but I think Tommy Lee has been outstanding.
Yeah.
Ashton Lee too. Ethan Rupp, of course, we all know Ethan's gone to Brentford, which for him must be a phenomenal feeling coming from Bognor. Brentford signing him up, and he's been playing because I've been keeping up to date with their Twitter page and making sure if he's playing and stuff, which he has been playing. He's been playing against some good players too. So he's been doing well. They kept clean sheets in the last 2 games.
That's good. So
I'll say
so you'd say the Lee brothers and maybe Ethan Robb from past seasons?
From last season, I think my first season was when I first joined. We had like the Sammies at the back.
Yeah.
Dan Beck in the middle. They were just phenomenal. Like, not the best football players, but they were leaders. Is what you need, really, isn't it? In that kind of football.
Yeah.
Like a leader at the back, a leader in midfield, and had to have Sammy and Dan Beck in there, and then Jimmy Mewett, Ollie Pearce, and Fraser. We had some really good players, and I started supporting Bognor when they got promoted, and then they got relegated the next season, and then they failed their own since. So I've seen some pretty good football, Liam. Yeah. I haven't had the pleasure of, because I'm on the Rocks chat, everyone mentioning about all the Grimsby games. I joined the season, but I joined after that game. So yeah, I wish I moved down here earlier, really, to see all them memories.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the highlights. I think they're on YouTube of the Grimsby game, particularly the away game at Grimsby, and a great goal there by Dan Beck, obviously, who you mentioned. Brilliant finish to draw it level, and we really thought at that point we could have done it. And the fans were superb that day. Didn't stop singing throughout, and a long time afterwards. I think it was 20 minutes or 30 minutes afterwards, kept singing. But obviously, also, would you say who would you say is one to watch for the future at Bognor?
One to watch, I will say that's probably Tommy Lee, if we can keep him, because of course with this pandemic, there's been a couple of league clubs interested in him training with them. Thankfully, he's not gone yet, and hopefully we can keep hold of him, because although he didn't have his best season last season, well, we say last season in the 15 games we played, he didn't play as well as he did the previous seasons, but he's still how old is he? 18, 19?
Yeah, he's about that, I think now. Yeah, about 19, 20. Yeah,
and he can boss that midfield, scoring the goals, putting in his tackles. He's all-round game, really, I think. And even Ashton, I think Ashton played really well. It's a shame he kept getting injured, because he seemed to play and people were the opposition targeted, didn't he? He kept getting kicked. I remember in the game against Tooting and Mitcham, he got absolutely taken out by the dugouts, and it was just a disgusting tackle. It's like the bench were laughing about it, and the fans were laughing about it, and then it's just that he seems to be targeted quite a lot. Obviously, because he's a good player, he's skilled. You saw his goal against Horsham.
Mm. Yeah, I think it's its stature as well, isn't it? His presence on the field. I think that's part of the reason. Even though he's young, he's got quite a presence to him, and he's good on the ball. And he's good at his diagonal passes out wide as well. And I think if you can stifle him in a way, you can really exploit us, defensively.
But going back to the games I've enjoyed the most, I've enjoyed quite a few, but I've got a couple more. If you wouldn't mind me mentioning them,
yeah,
Lee.
go on.
I've got the Bognor vs Leyton Orient in the FA Trophy.
Of course, the wonder goal from Jimmy Mewett.
In the 88th minute.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I remember that game, standing on the halfway line with Norman, my fellow Barnum mate.
Good old Norman. Storming Norman,
good old Norman, who I've been keeping in contact with, and he's keeping well, which is good in the lockdown.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
But yeah, no, that goal, the place was buzzing that day. Unfortunately, Richard got sent off. But take nothing away from the team that day. They were outstanding. And Leyton Orient, we all know how good they are. So to take them to extra time with 10 men as well and only lose 2-1 is, I think, that game. I've got a couple more games.
Yeah.
Of course, the Sussex Senior Cup final.
Of course, Dougie Tuck with the winner there.
Who can forget that? And of course, we're still champions of Sussex.
Of course. Yeah. I wonder if that's a modern record. I know we won it 5 years on the trot in the 80s, but I think that's probably a modern record at the moment.
Yeah, well, I think it might be. But yeah, no, that game stands out as well. That was that was the first game I've seen Bognor like in a proper stadium.
Yeah.
Stadium. Of course, that atmosphere was amazing that day. And to see Harvey lifting the trophy at the end was amazing feeling. I've got one more, which is quite a strange game, but it stands out quite a way.
Yeah.
Which is the away game against Margate, where we won 6-1.
Oh, fantastic.
There was about, how many? I think there was about 10 to 15 of us there, Liam.
Yes, we were all in the main stand, weren't we?
Yeah, we was.
Most of us.
It was one of them games where Margate on a Tuesday night, bonkers. But the fans that went there we got to see the James Crane hat trick. Of course, not often James gets a hat trick, but his reaction after the game, of course, he came over to us, didn't he?
He did. Oh, he came over to you. I was behind. I was in the main stand, but I think you guys were behind the goal.
Yeah, me, Ken, and a couple of others.
I remember Ken getting a nice selfie with you all, and with Crane as well with the match ball.
Yeah, he managed to get hold of the match ball, and he put it behind his shirt, and he said, "I'm keeping this. I'm not giving it back." So he put it up his shirt, and I think he's probably still got it now. So yeah, that was a fantastic night. We didn't get into about 1:30 in the morning, and I remember
long day.
Yeah, and I was on the early shift on the next day. So yeah, I was. But at least they won. If they lost, I would have been a bit angry going into work. But they won, which made it all easier.
It's nice to know that others feel that way when we lose, because I'm the same. If we, even if we've only lost 1-0 as a narrow defeat, I'm still a bit angry the next day. not my usual self.
Yeah, well, a loss is a loss where you can lose playing well, and I don't get as angry because at least we've played well. But if we play absolutely rubbish and lose, then I get really angry, as you probably know by on the radio and with talking to you outside of the radio.
Yeah.
But no, all in all, I think it's good to show that passion, isn't it, Liam?
I think you have to. I think that's what keeps us going, really. It's the passion from the fans and passion from all the people involved with the club. But looking ahead to sort of next season, whenever that will start, the rumour is that we might see some pre-season action in July. I'm not aware for certain of who we might be playing, but do you have any guesses?
Yeah, I heard that too. And of course, we've had Littlehampton and Hornby confirmed if all goes well. But it'll be lovely to see us play like the Portsmouths again, even the Southampton 11. And of course, if Ethan stays at Brentford, which it looks like he may well do, maybe get Brentford down and play a friendly against them.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. I mean, I'm definitely Pompey. I mean, the only thing with that is obviously if we can allow fans in and large numbers of fans, and I don't know what the actual rule will be when we do go back, but hopefully by sort of end of June, things should be a little bit better. Most people would have had the vaccine, and we'd be able to have bigger crowds outside. Okay, some of the stands are obviously covered, but you can probably let in a certain amount. I think the number was something like 10 or 15% before, but I think it could be a little bit more now after the vaccine. So what are your views on that, on crowds returning back to football?
Oh, well, it's all about the fans in non-league, isn't it, Liam?
Definitely. I think without it, you're gonna obviously the club suffered quite a bit. I know the players are on furlough, but there's all these other sort of expenses that they have to take into account. Even in off season when they're not playing.
Yeah, of course. Thankfully, the Premier League's been on during this lockdown, so we can watch it. And I've got used to watching it with no fans on the TV. I actually watch it without the crowd noise because the crowd noise, I don't think that's good. That's very good. But I think the crowd noise at a game, you can't miss it. You can't the singing, the chanting, of course the drumming.
Yeah,
it just gets you going, doesn't it? Really, and if Bognor score, you get the cheer, you get that. It's just an amazing feeling when the fans are there. But football without fans is nothing, as I think everyone would agree. You can't really play non-league with no fans because the clubs wouldn't survive. And of course, Bognor's fan base, the helping out we've been doing, the fundraising and everything, it just proves to show without fans, football is at nothing. Because if we didn't have that, then Bognor probably wouldn't have a team.
no.
And we would have to get rid of people. We wouldn't be able to build the new stand behind the goal. So yeah, it's just one of them things then, isn't it? Where hopefully the fans can get it in slowly but surely. Even if we can get a couple of hundred is better than nothing. So by August, start getting that in because.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think when I watch football games on the TV, when you play the crowd noise on it, some of them have no crowd noise, I find, and some of them do have piped crowd noise, and it's just they've even got. It sounds like they've got different buttons for different reactions. So they'll hit a button for a goal or a miss, but sometimes they hit the goal button when the goalkeeper saves it. So
yeah,
very sort of. I didn't think it was very realistic personally, but I agree. I think I prefer it when you can hear the players and the managers calling out to the players on the pitch, because when you're at Bognor, when in the quiet moments, you can hear that, and that's one of the things I like about non-league football is you're right up close to the action.
Definitely, yeah, and of course we sit in the media section of the stand where we can see and hear everything pretty well. So yeah, to hear the fans when a goal's scored or when at the final whistle, if there's a win, then it's a fantastic feeling, isn't it?
It is, and I remember the last goals we scored at Nywood Lane, which seems like an age ago, but the absolute roar of the crowd when we score a goal. I mean, there's nothing like it. I think we all go balmy in the press box, even because we're all fans at the end of the day. But the actual electric atmosphere that Nywood Lane can generate, I think people can hear us, a long way away from the ground. Not only the neighbours, but the people that live far off away in Bognor and some places in Pagham. I think they can hear us. So when we do score a goal, they know about it.
Yeah. Well, of course, it's good to get behind the team, and I'm just hoping we can get back to some friendlies and with some fans in. Of course, I'm a football referee, so I'm going to be starting refereeing again soon, Sunday league football. So that'll be good because, of course, I haven't been doing that during the lockdown. So
when does that start for you, Pete?
Starts again in April, but the Sunday league I referee in the Southern Sunday Football League in London and Surrey. Oh, they're only playing their cup games. They've null and voided the league, but they're playing their cup games. so they can get their cup games finished, which is good.
Yeah, still.
So
still good.
yeah, I'll be refereeing a couple of games there. I'll go to.
Will you feel a bit rusty? You've been a while out, haven't you?
Oh yeah, definitely. I've been trying to go out on runs, like on the road. I've done a few 10Ks. I've done a 10-mile run the other day. I need to get the miles in, of course, due to the marathon coming up.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Of course, it's the same as players, really. If you haven't played for a certain amount of time, you'll be a bit rusty. So hopefully, my refereeing doesn't cost any decisions, which I'm sure it won't. But yeah, no, it'll take me a couple of games to get back in the swing of it, I think, Lee.
In terms of your training, Peter, with the gyms being closed, has that really affected you, or have you just been more of a lone runner outside, like to be outside running?
Well, at the start of lockdown, when it was quite warm last year, I bought a treadmill for the garage and a spin bike, which I'm not going to be honest with you, I didn't really use a spin bike, but I was using the treadmill. But since I've joined up for the marathon, I've been going out on the road. Because of course the marathon's going to be on the road, so I need to get used to that. I prefer it now, so I haven't really been going on the treadmill as much, but I've been going out running and keeping fit as much as I can. So yeah, hopefully.
Have you got any tips for anybody who wants to get into running? Because I need to do some more exercise myself.
Well, you just have to take it easy. Don't go all out. Like, don't worry about times, because there's a lot of people that go out worrying about times. And they have to do it in a certain amount of time. As long as you get your legs moving, Liam, to start, even if you only do a 20-minute run, it's better than sitting indoors eating rubbish food. And you know what I mean? Like, don't put pressure on yourself to do it, because I'm not going all out yet, because I've got until September. Because if I go all out now, I'll probably get injured. Yeah. And that's the last thing I need, because I'm quite a fit lad. So I don't want to be pushing myself too hard now. And get injured for the marathon. I want to take my time, get the miles up slowly, and don't worry about time. Just do it in your own time, and then you'll feel good about yourself. Because of course, in lockdown, quite a lot of people have been suffering with their mental health and stuff. So if you go out for a bit of fresh air, you know, a bit of fresh air does the world good. And I'm thankful I live in between. I've got Climping Beach, Bognor Beach, Littlehampton Beach. I've been taking my dog. To get out in the fresh air helps a lot. So I've been getting out as much as I can if I've not been working. Yeah, so my advice to anyone that wants to take up running is just take it easy to start. Don't push yourself too hard at the start. Otherwise, you could get injured. But yeah, no, diet's my thing, Liam, mate.
Yeah, that's the killer, isn't it?
Yeah, my diet isn't that good at the moment, because I need to get my diet going. If I can get my diet good, then it'll be much better, Liam.
Yeah, I'm just looking up. I try and go out for a walk every day, you know, a power walk up to the seafront here in Littlehampton and across. Well, I try to go as far as I can, but I've been meaning to go out for a jog. I don't know what's sort of the best time to go out for a jog when there's not many people around. Is it early in the morning?
Well, I've actually been going by your house when I've been running, Lee. I've been parking up in the Morrison's car park in Littlehampton. I've been jogging with a workmate.
Okay.
So we've actually been running around near where you live, and then we cut up by the boats.
You go down the riverbank. A lot of people do that, down the riverside.
Yeah, it is lovely down there, and I'm thankful to be working in Littlehampton by the seafront. So of course, taking the guys I look after out for walks, which we thankfully can still do during lockdown.
Yeah.
Instead of staying in, going for nice walks, you know, and Worthing Beach, Littlehampton Beach, Climping, they're all just nice beaches to get out and start like getting some fresh air, you know.
Yeah, definitely. But now, Peter, you obviously we've mentioned before that you're now involved in Rocks Radio. I remember asking you if you were interested at Horndean pre-season to join Lee Roberts due to my reporting duties, and now you're either colour commentator or leading it when Lee can't. How are you finding it? Is it harder than people think?
Oh yeah, it's very hard, but it's easy when it comes to the Bognor players, but the opposition players, it can get a bit tricky.
Yeah.
Thankfully, cheeks. But yeah, no, that day I remember that Hornbeam friendly. I arrived there quite early, and Lee was looking for somebody. And of course, because you literally do so much for the club, you do the reports, of course, you do the scoreboards, you do. So it's pretty hard for you to do the radio and all of that.
Yeah, particularly the home games is difficult because I've got more things. But away games, sometimes I'm usually doing the match report, so it's hard to do both. And yeah, so that's why I can't lead it or anything like that, and I prefer not leading it. What do you prefer? Do you prefer to lead it, or do you prefer to be colour?
I don't mind either, really. I just like giving my thoughts on the game, really. Of course, I've been leading it the last 3 or 4 games of the season due to Lee being away.
Yeah.
Which I think we all work well, really. Me, you, Lee and myself, Lee and yourself. We all do really well, and of course, the comments are really appreciated on Mixler, you know, and it's good for people to listen to when they can't get to a game, because I do sometimes because unfortunately my contract is after work every other weekend. Sometimes I try and change that around so I can go to all the games, but I can't. I can probably miss around 1 or 2 Saturday games a month. Hopefully, only one. So yeah, like I've been listening in to, and it's really good, mate. Because I don't think there's many clubs that do it.
No, and I think there's some clubs that are starting to do it because we were doing it first.
Yeah, well, it's because it's worked so well. Like talking to Lee, I appreciate everything what Lee's done for that, because he's got it up to 10,000 listeners, really, which, well, 10,000 plus now.
Yeah.
Which, to have that from the start of when he first started doing it, it says it all, really, doesn't it? It proves that we're doing a good job. And
yeah, I'm really pleased that people are enjoying it, and hopefully we can get back on it, obviously, as soon as the season starts. And I think they, particularly away games when people can't make it, but for home games we still get in good numbers as well.
Yeah, well, I remember a couple of games last season, Liam, where, especially Horsham, I think, the Horsham away game.
That's
Horsham
right.
were sitting in front of us, and at the end they said that was the best commentary they've listened to, because we're unbiased, we're fair, we just we're like fair commentators, really. We're not we're not like saying Bognor or this, Bognor or that. We're saying about both teams. We're giving a fair commentary, and I think that the fans, even though it can get a bit annoying for them, because I think Lee keeps saying to me, "How many fans do you think we can clear out today?" as a joke.
It's true though. If they don't like it, you know, and they're sitting right next to you, and you're right in the press box where you should be, in most cases. Sometimes they don't even have a press box, so you have to do it, you know, just literally in the main stand. Sometimes you just literally can't do it from anywhere else. You can't do it standing up, really. You need to sit down and do it. Although you can do it standing up, but I find with my other duties, it's easier to do it sat down. But you can do it, you know, if you've got nobody around you, it's fine. But if you've got a group of fans, usually the away group, if you're away, you usually get I remember Lee and I were at Bracknell Town one year, and there was one guy that just kept going on and on and on throughout the game. He wouldn't let up. And when Bognor scored the equaliser, we both went absolutely balmy. And at the end, the guy shook Lee's hand and said, "No hard feelings and all this." So, but you do get some characters, and a lot of them, you know, like you say, they do appreciate what we're trying to do with the radio. Okay, yes, we're not professionals, but we enjoy bringing the action to Bognor fans across the world.
That's what it is, Liam. I'm not a professional. I just like talking about football, you know, and if I can commentate on a game, then I feel good doing that. Because I used to play football, I coach football, and I'm a referee. So yeah, the commentating is the only thing I haven't done, which thankfully at Horndean, I actually remember that game, Lee. We were stuck on a broken bench, which we couldn't really both sit on.
So did you stand up for that one?
Yeah, we were like, I was standing up and Lee was on the bench because he had to put his laptop on the table. And I remember asking for a chair, and they gave literally no oldest chair possible, which I didn't even sit on in the end because I thought it was going to break. But I stood up and done it, and that that Hornbeam game was a good experience. So of course it wasn't a league game, but I think it was better for me starting in the friendly, so I can get used to the players and get used to how the commentary works. And I got some good tips off Lee, which I appreciated, because of course it's been me and you the last couple of games, Lee.
Yeah.
Liam, and I think we've done quite a good job together, and we've had some very good comments. So
yeah, I mean, you were kind of thrown in the deep end because you'd never really led it, I don't think, before then. But recently, obviously, towards the end of the last season, because of Lee being unavailable, you were able to step in and do that. Because I've tried doing the lead of it, and it's very difficult. I don't think people will realise how difficult it is to call the action as you see it. It's very hard to sort of describe it sometimes. And I've always found that hard. So I always find the reaction to chances and opportunities by both sides easier to describe than the actual play-by-play.
yeah, no, it's definitely to get the position on the pitch, the right number, the right player, the right air. Like it is hard, but I think I'm getting used to it. So it will take time. Literally, that's my first. Well, we say a season, first half a season that I've done as a commentator in any football on a radio station, which it's going to take a couple of seasons to get fully up to it. I think because doing it with Lee as a he's very good. Of course, he's done it for quite a while, so it's good to learn off somebody like that, and to do it with you even because your knowledge of football in general is good. So, like, to give me some different knowledge about the players and about, because I've only followed Bognor for 4 and a bit seasons. How long have you followed Bognor for, Liam? About 20? Well, since you've been born, isn't it?
No, not quite. Well, it's about 7. So it's about, I think it was 97, 98 sort of year that I started following the Rocks. So I've been following them ever since. And yeah, it's been great. I don't really support any other teams. And the only other team I used to support was Portsmouth. But other than that, I don't really follow them now. It's all Bognor. And that's why part of the reason why I started this podcast. And part of the reason why I pushed through, obviously, Lee doing the Rocks radio and getting more people involved like yourself to try and, help it along. And I think it's gone down really well. And I think everybody's doing a good chance. And the one thing that I always find a gripe with when you go to away games, particularly, is the hallowed team sheet. Because if you haven't got the team sheet, it's impossible, isn't it, to do the away team?
Yeah, 100%. That's the first one we asked for. And of course, due to COVID, I remember the Hazing Yedding game, which was a nightmare to get a team sheet. Lee had to go down and ask about 6 people, I think, for a team sheet. And they said, we're not doing paper team sheets due to COVID and blah, 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 blah. But Lee being Lee managed to get one, which is good because God knows who the other opposition players will be. Of course, if we play someone like Worthing or Horsham, then we kind of know the players.
Yeah. So like one of the local derbies or anything, we usually know a lot of the players, and obviously a lot of the players are ex-Rocks, so you often know them, don't you, already? So and team sheet though, it's crucial to Rocks Radio and making that as professional as we can.
100%, and the team sheets do go a long way because even with the Bognor players, sometimes you can get the players mixed up. I got Calvin and Jack Flanagan mixed up a couple of times because Jake was playing right back, and that's normally Calvin's position. And of course, that from a distance, you probably could get them mixed up. And Geordi and Sam Dowdridge as well, they interchange, and it's good to just make sure you got the number, because if you've got the right player for the right number, then it helps you out so much.
Yeah, and the other thing is sometimes they don't wear a number. There's a blank shirt on the back, so not even a number, so we can't even identify who that is. And usually somebody pipes up and says who it is, but that's not always the case.
Yeah, thankfully, where we sit in the stands, if we can sit in the stands at away games, we've got somebody nearby that knows the players. So like if we're unsure, we can just quickly ask them next door, and then they'll let us know who the player is, or if a player's been cautioned, like they can tell us who the player is. Because of course, doing a radio, you don't have to just keep an eye on the game. You have to keep an eye on the cautions, the substitutions, because all the people on the radio, all the people that are tuning in, need to know all that. Because if you say, there's been a yellow card, they're going to want to know who for, is it the second yellow card? You know what I mean? So you need to make sure you've got the right person caution, the time of the goal, because it all helps out with the people listening, because they're not there, are they? So they
No.
don't know. If you say, oh, so-and-so, there's been a caution, and if you can't get the right player, then they're going to think, oh, who's been cautioned, you know? Yeah. So thankfully, with team sheets, you've got the players there, and then we can jot it down on the team sheet, like the caution and the time, or the goal time, or if anything else has happened, like a red card or anything, substitution.
Yeah, I found particularly with myself and my reporting duties, when there isn't a team sheet available, I usually go to the wonderful website, football web pages, and that gives me all the details. Sometimes it's not updated, sometimes it is, sometimes I'm updating it myself. So it's another place you can go to in the event of no team sheet. But it's another go-to place that I get most of my research from as well, which is ideal. Particularly it started sort of 2012-13 is the first sort of year it started. So I've got all the statistics I need from there in terms of Bognar's goals and appearances and things like that. And I think the websites themselves, obviously the opposition websites often give you a lot of information about the opposition players as well. But you've usually heard, if you're picking out a player to talk about that's going to be a standout for them, you usually know about them already because they've already scored so many goals and the stats are pretty good. So sometimes it's quite easy, and other times it can be a nightmare.
Well, another good thing is the social media these days, Lee, where of course we've got Kyle and Ian Guppy that help out on the social media. Yeah, they teams on their Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and of course everyone. Well, not everyone, but probably 60-70% of Bognor fans are on social media. So they can, like, if they haven't got a team sheet, they can go on the Twitter page and have a look. They can have a look at the Instagram or Facebook, and they can keep up to date with the podcasts and everything on their Facebook and the YouTube and stuff. So social media is a good thing, because if it wasn't for that, then we wouldn't have a clue really who anyone is, would we?
No, exactly. And I think, they have asked me if I wanted to be on there, but I said, no, you do a great job anyway. I don't really need to have access to that, but I've got access to obviously the YouTube account, Rocks TV, where this podcast is actually on, and I'm pleased with how it's gone so far, and the media side is improving, week on week, which is great. And we always have any new people that want to get involved, obviously get in touch with us, and we want to grow this team and make it one of the best in this league anyway. I would just like to let fans know that the Supporters Club are running a 12-man fund as of 1st of April 2021. I personally am signed up to pay £7.50 a month, but basically the more the fans we can get involved with this, the better, and you can pay as little as you want each month. This goes towards an emergency players budget, which is with the Supporters Club, so that in future and after this pandemic, the club can still field the odd new player or help with wages. More details can be found on the club's official website, therocks.co.uk. If you've already pledged money this month, then many thanks. Speak to David Robinson if you want to find out more, get involved. Peter, what do you think about the 12-man fund? As I know, it's an idea that has been suggested before.
I think it's a good idea, because we've proved how it can help with the fundraising for the stand of 50,000. To raise 50,000 on the other one, Lee, it proves that we can do it. I personally don't do direct debits that much anymore, so I paid Dave yesterday like a lump sum, a fee. Yeah. So I just gave the club some money via bank transfer, which Dave was very appreciated about. So I engage any fan. Of course, it's a tough time for people at the moment. Some people have been furloughed. Some people haven't got their jobs anymore, or they're not working as much. But if you can give anything to the club, then it'll be a good idea. But of course, not all the fans are in that position to be able to give money, Liam, are they? So
no. Well, we can understand that. Obviously, it's another option for you if you don't necessarily want to get a season ticket, or if you don't, want to pay kit sponsorship or anything like that. There's that other option. You've got another option there, and it will go directly into just the playing side. So it won't go into, anything else, it's got to go directly into a players' fund, overlooked by the supporters club, and then they can give that money to the club if and needed. I don't think it'll be used straight away because it needs to build up a bit, but I think it's a good idea. I'm giving it a go for about a year, see how it goes. I've set it up so that it goes to the first of the month every month. You can set it up on your own as a standing order, or you can pay like you've done, Peter, and pay it as a lump sum if you wanted. It's entirely up to you. But if you want to get involved, just letting fans know, get in touch with David Robinson. It's now time for the quickfire Rocks players round, Peter. I want you to give me your preferred Bognor player out of these options. There are 5 in total. And please give me a short reason for those answers. Okay, I think you know all these players. I think you've been around since these players have been playing. Your choices at the ready. Here we go. Grant Smith or Dan Lincoln?
Oh, you have to start off with a tough one, don't you, Lee?
Yeah.
I only saw Grant Smith play a handful of games. I've seen Dan Lincoln play a bit more. I think, judging on my experiences of watching Bognor, I think Dan Lincoln just edges it. Of course, Grant Smith, fantastic keeper, and he gets mentioned quite a lot in the group to say how good he was. But no, Dan Lincoln, because I've got to see more of him, really. If it would be a tougher one if I followed Bognor for a bit longer and saw Grant Smith for a bit longer.
He was part of that FA Trophy run, of course, that year. So he was.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
It is one of the top.
I saw him play a couple of games and he was outstanding. Dan Lincoln just edges it for me.
Okay, Jake Flanagan or Calvin Davis? We mentioned these earlier, obviously getting them mixed up, but which one do you prefer?
Calvin Davis, I'll say, before his injury, was outstanding.
Yeah,
he was probably one of the best right backs in that league. Unfortunately, once you get an injury like he did, it's hard to recover. And then, of course, he got an injury setback. So Jake filled in the last season. If we're talking as a right back, I'll say Calvin.
Yeah.
But Jake, in the centre mid role, I think, is a phenomenal player. He gets the ball. He's that calmness we need in midfield, really. But no, if we're talking about right back, I'll say Calvin just edges it to me.
Yeah, I think he's more of a natural right back, whereas Flanagan has sort of been put in that role when Calvin had some injury problems last season. But Jake Flanagan really fitted in well at right back. I thought he did very well. But I agree. I think he's more of a midfielder than Calvin. So I'd agree with you on that. The next one is Joe Cook or Stuart Axton. Now, I don't know if you've seen Stuart Axton or not.
I haven't seen Stuart Axton play, but I've heard a lot of things about him. Of course, I've seen Joe Cook play because since I've been supporting him, he's joined twice, thankfully, because he went back to Havant and then came back to Bognor, which was really good. I think it's safe to say the season just gone, I say season, but
9 games, I think it was, or 10 games.
Yeah, the 10 games that he played, he wasn't as good as he was when he first signed. I don't know if that's because maybe he kept having a different centre-back partner he played with or he was carrying an injury. But Joe on his day, if Joe plays to his ability, he could be one of the best centre-backs in that division, in my opinion. Stuart, I haven't really seen play, so I can't really comment on him. But I've heard good things on the group. Of course, on the Bognor chat, we chat a lot about their memories and the players, and he gets mentioned quite a lot. So,
yeah. No, definitely. And and the next one, Dan Beck or Tommy Lee?
Oh, that's another
both
tough
great
one
players, both slightly different, I'd say, but both sort of playing a similar position.
Well, it's another tough one because Dan's probably double Tommy's age, isn't he? Well, not double, he's coming up to that. So when I first joined, Dan was, of course, the captain, and he was just in the middle there. Him and Doug together was outstanding together as a partnership. Dan, and he could score a goal, of course, just like you said earlier.
Yeah. He could also play up front, couldn't he, as well, Dan Beck? He could play, if you didn't have anybody fit up front, he could also step in up the top.
And although he was quite little, he was good in the air, so he could get stuck in with his head. Tommy Lee's a different player, isn't he? Because I think Tommy Lee's a box-to-box player where he's he can play in that holding role. He can play in that attacking role. He's even played a few games up helping out up front because of his height.
Yeah.
And he can strike a ball, of course, as we know. Some of Tommy Lee's goals we've seen
Take a free kick as well, can't he?
Oh, yeah, set plays. He's a danger. He scored a couple of headers in the 10 games we played.
Yeah.
As a leader, I'll say Dan Beck.
Yeah.
But as a footballer, I'll just say Tommy Lee Edges there.
Okay. The last one is Geordi Mongoy or Jason Parish.
Again, that's a pretty tough one because Jason Parish has been injured quite a lot. He looks good when he's come off the bench. He looks sharp, and it'll be good if he can get back to full fitness. He'll be a very good squad player to have.
Yeah.
Geordi, he went missing in a couple of games, coming out on the left wing a bit. But when he was up there, holding the ball up and getting other players into the game, I think that's what's impressed me the most about Geordi, is his hold-up play and his all-round play. He can get the ball into him, and another players can get into the game. He got quite a few assists last season with Bradley, with holding the ball up, Bradley running down the wing, playing Bradley in, and Bradley scoring. Jason is a more, I'll say, attacking striker. He's a more number 9, where he likes to get on the edge of the flick-ons, and Geordie's the one that probably get the flick-ons, and Jason's the one that likes to be on the receiving end of a flick-on.
Yeah.
I'll say probably Geordie just edges it for me, but Jason will be interesting to see if he does sign to get back fully fit, because he's a very, very good player. And so if we can get Geordie and Jason both firing, then that'll be a very, very fearful strike partnership.
I'd like to see the dynamic of both of them up there and see how they do. Because obviously, Geordi scored, I think it was over 6 goals in those 9 games last season, which was really impressive. So you have to give it to him, really. But Jason Parish didn't get that as much time as he'd liked on the pitch. Came off. He had some injury problems as well, but he did well in pre-season. I thought he had some good finishes, particularly obviously lower opposition. But I think he's untested really at our level. And whereas Mongoy he's obviously he's probably going to be one of the top scorers in our league if we were able to keep hold of him. But news has come out in recent months, and we mentioned it earlier, that Ethan Robb has been called up to represent Brentford on loan. He seems to be making an impression already in their squad, and all the best to Ethan for that. I think he will do well, and I was impressed by him last season. What are your thoughts about Ethan Robb moving on, Peter? Was this inevitable or a bit of a shock for you?
Well, I think it's safe to say it was a bit of a shock for everyone. I discussed with you, didn't I? Because we was talking about the sponsorship, the player sponsorship, and who you sponsor and so on and so forth. And I was actually thinking of sponsoring Ethan Robb because he was one of my players and it stood out. He didn't really play much to start, and then since Calvin, Jake went to right back, and then Ethan Robb filled in at centre back.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have thought that when you first saw Ethan playing that he could play centre back, but he possibly was our best centre back in them games we played last season. He stood out for me as the best centre back we had. Of course, Joe Cook on paper is the best centre back we've got, but Joe Cook didn't have his best of games. But Ethan Robb for me stood out really well, and I've been keeping up to date on the Brentford Twitter page, and I've been keeping up to date with him, and he's played the last 3 or 4 games for the B team, and they've played the opposition they play are quite good. They play a few of their first team players, so it's a good experience for Ethan, and hopefully he's been giving good interviews after the games, which of course I've shared on the group. Fair play to the lad. You know, he's a nice lad as well. He's not like one of them players what thinks he's it. He just gets on with the game. He's a hard worker. So it's good to see him playing at a higher standard. Of course, it'll be nice if he can come back. But at the moment, it's looking like he might stay there because Brentford have got a very good record for bringing up the youth players, like Ethan Pinnock. But when he played for Dulwich Hamlet alongside Matt Drage, my mate, he's a first teamer now for them, you know. And they've got a couple of players that played for Worthing, and are in their team. So they actually sign the non-league players and play them.
Yeah,
like a team like somebody might sign someone and just never ever play for them, which I'd see what is the point of doing that. But Brentford have actually got a really good system in place of playing the youth. And fair play to Ethan. Hopefully he can, if he can sign a contract there and get into the first team, then it'll be good to see. And of course, seeing that when Brentford play on the TV, hopefully Bogner can get a mention, because he said that Bogner helped his game.
Yeah.
By the way, Bogner played their football. Like Bogner liked playing their football up from the back, same as Brentford. So he even said himself on an interview that he's got Bogner to thank for his progress. So fair play to him, Liam.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad to see he's doing well, and I thought I was shocked at the first, but then I thought actually he played really well last year, and actually, I wouldn't be surprised if another club came swooping in for him. Obviously, at the moment, it looks like it's a loan deal, so it might not. We never know how it will work out, but all the best to Ethan for that. And another bit of news, Peter. Obviously, this week, Joe Hancock had been released by Pompey, Portsmouth. And he's now signed for the Rocks. So, what are your thoughts on that? The fullback as well.
Yeah, well, I think all teams in defence need that versatility. Where like Jake's shown it, he can play in positions. Ethan Robb showed that he can play in different positions. Keaton can play on the left and centre back. Calvin can play on the right or the left. And to sign Joe, I made a little joke on the group about, we signed another injured player, but I didn't mean it in like a way of we sign injured players. I mean, if we sign him and he can get fit, 100% fit, then he will be a very, very good signing. Of course, he's played for Bognor before, and we've seen what he can do. His versatility, he's got the pace, and he's a very, very, very good signing. Of course, I was hoping to get an interview with Jack or Blakey yesterday, helping out at the ground about the signings and if there's any more people coming up. And I've heard that Blakey wants to get his signings done early, which is good, so he can get all the pre-season with the new players and stuff. So no, he's a very good signing, Liam. I'm chuffed with that one. Hopefully we can get some more players that can improve us.
I believe that the team are now back training, aren't they? Because obviously it would usually be a season, but they're actually able to train at the moment, I believe.
Yeah, I think they are. Yeah, I've been, of course, some of the players on Twitter, they've been putting their runs on there, like they've been going out running and stuff. It's good to see. Of course, it's tempting to slack off a bit during a lockdown as a footballer, isn't it? Really, if you're not a football player, if you're a non-league player, and the gyms are shut, then it's tough. But if you're a Premier League footballer, then you've got all the facilities. But no, it'll be interesting to see when they start training again, if there's any new faces there. Of course, we'll try and get that to the fans as soon as we know it. And I might even go and see a couple of training sessions if I'm allowed, just to see how the players are getting on, see if I can get an interview with Robbie. Just to see how things are going on and to see if anyone else is thinking of leaving, really, because as it stands, as we know, we're just waiting for players to make sure they sign because we're unsure on who's going to sign, who isn't. Of course, we're not expecting anyone to leave, but who knows in this current day. Like,
it's always the same with Bognor, though, I find, Pete. It's, every year we're just a bit worried about what team we're going to field for the next season. And particularly last year, I think, having Amadou Tangara as one of the ones we knew was going to be staying. He stayed on, but having that assurance that you got, I think that the sort of core of the team will probably stay. It's just those other players that might not have got as much game time as they expected.
Yeah, I think it's that spine, isn't it? If you've got the spine of the team stay, like the Amadou's, the Keaton. I know people say Keaton's not a good player, but off the pitch, Keaton is a leader. Like, he can help the youngsters. Yeah. And if we haven't got the Cooks, the Keatons, the Harveys, and the
Crane,
the more experienced players in the midfield, like the core. Of course, Harvey, for me, he's a very hard worker. It'll be nice to see if we can get people to challenge him for the captaincy armband, because it would improve the whole team. Because I've said it before, and I said it to you, Liam, didn't I, about maybe sometimes lack of leadership.
Yeah.
Where if stuff's going wrong, where they just get on each other's backs and then all their heads go down. Of course, being a captain's tough. I know that for a fact. But it'd be nice to see. Harvey always gives his all. So I'm not going to say Harvey doesn't give his all, but it'd be nice to see if we can get players in that can maybe challenge him for the captaincy armband, and then he'll play better for it, because Harvey on his day is a very good footballer as well. So
yeah, it's yet to be seen to see what players we bring in, and I think Joe Hancock addition is a good thing, and it might free up a player like James Crane, who often has been playing in fullback positions, but I think he's quite good in midfield. If you give him an advanced role, he can score goals. He's got an eye for goal. I remember when he played, I spoke to him obviously in a previous podcast where he was playing for Arundel. Okay, he was younger, but he was scoring goals for fun at Arundel, and I think he could do the same for us. There's a lot of players that can score goals, and it's given a real dilemma for Robbie and Jack in the following season as to who he plays in those fullback positions. I'm not sure if Tommy Cooney is staying, but he was obviously playing last year for us. So that's another one to think about. I don't know if Diedrich Roberts is going to stay, the signing that we got towards the end. We only saw him about 15 minutes in that Malden Tiptree game, I believe. So some of these players, and Mongoy, of course, a lot of these players are having to travel a long way just to come to home games. I think that's another issue, is whether the players are willing to still travel. I know Tangara has to travel quite a bit to get to the home games and home training and things like that. So, but talking about Amadou Tangara, the Rocks goalkeeping supreme, found out recently when he launched his new goalkeeper's gloves business at the end of last year. Great stuff from Amadou, and I thought I'd just mention it. It's great to see when players engage and have ideas off the pitch. I'm told that these gloves will be on sale in the club shop when the season gets underway again. What are your views on Tangara's new goalkeeping gloves, Peter?
I think it's a fantastic idea. If I was a goalkeeper, I'd buy a pair myself. Have you bought a pair, Liam?
No, I haven't. I'm thinking about it, though. I wonder if I believe he signs them. So if you're interested, I think he'll sign them for you as well.
I do know he's one of your favourite players, and you've actually bought the Goalkeeping Tops, which is good.
I did. I wanted them to be on sale at the club shop, but luckily I managed to do it through. Obviously, it's the same shirts. They just print the stuff on it. One of them's got pads in the arms, and the other one hasn't. But they're both very good. I haven't really worn them much, but I need to wear them, and I probably will wear them. And also, the other question is obviously the kit's staying the same this year, and hopefully, with all the names on, everybody's names I think that's staying the same this year. Have you heard any different?
No, I haven't. No, I've actually got the shirt on now. I thought, why not wear it when I'm doing a Bogner podcast? But I know that going back to Amadou, he's such a nice guy on and off the pitch. I've had the pleasure of talking to him a few times off the pitch, and he's a really, really, really nice lad. And he's a really good goalkeeper too, which helps. I think you can see his interaction with the fans is unbelievable. If Bogner win at the end, of course, I filmed him a couple of times doing his...
Oh, yeah, Horsham that time he did.
The Horsham one, when he comes up to the fans and gives it the fist pump.
Yeah.
It's really good to see. He's a nice lad. And, of course, I would say, probably in our top 5 players that we need to 100% get signed on for next season, because although he made a few mistakes last season, but of course, how many good saves did he do? Goalkeeping is a very, very hard position where if you make a mistake, it will cost a goal. But he kept us in so many games last season. I've got a lot of time for Amadou. Amadou, and even Croney. I was going to mention Croney in our podcast a bit later on about the coaching, so I'll talk about Croney then. But Amadou, all in all, a fantastic player and a really nice guy off the pitch.
Yeah, so if you'd like to order yourself a pair of these highly acclaimed goalkeeper's gloves, please email Amadou at tangara39@yahoo.com, or alternatively, you can DM Amadou directly on Instagram at 1-to-1 goalkeeping. So get yourself some goalkeeper's gloves from Bogner number 1. It seems to me that we have been pushing close to the playoffs in both previous cut short seasons, Peter. What do you expect for the team in the next season, whenever that may start?
I think that the playoffs is always the aim at the start. Well, avoiding relegation is the first thing, because football's a funny game, as we know, Liam. I can't see Bogner getting relegated, but you can't 100% think that. Avoiding relegation is always the first thing, and then aiming for them playoffs. Them playoffs are a realistic target where we know in that division anyone can beat anyone on their day.
Yeah,
it's a bit like the championship. One day we can go and win against one of the higher teams, and then we can go and lose to one of the bottom teams the week after. It's a funny old division, Liam, where you have to be consistent in that league. If you're not consistent, then you're going to end up mid-table. Where if you can go on a run and get 5 or 6 wins in a row, then confidence is key, isn't it? If you can get that run, then the players will thrive off that, the fans will thrive off it, and then the playoffs. I think the playoffs are always Bogner's ambition, really, because Bognor are a good team. So
yeah. I think we were on course for. I know we got the 3-point deduction, obviously, after the season ended, but that wasn't obviously anything to do with on the pitch. So, but I think we were well on course still for a top 7, top 6 sort of finish at the end of the year. Okay, some of the teams, might be at a higher level than us, might be had a little bit more money put in, but in terms of the football we were playing, and although we didn't see many home games last year, but I think at home we were looking like we were going to be, a bit go on an unbeaten record at home. So it was unfortunate to cut the season short like it ended up with.
Yeah, I think the playoffs were looking good. We was actually on a good roll in the league, and in a few of our home games, we actually played really well at home. A couple of games we struggled a bit in the first few minutes, but after that we managed to play really well, which was good to see because Bognor, they've got the facilities, they've got the pitch, they've got the players, they've got the management, they've just got the conditions to play football. And of course we did, and we played really well. So it was unfortunate this season was cut short, but it'll be interesting to see if we can get our home form back on track, because I think that's important in any successful team. It's the home form. If you can get your home form good, then you've got a real chance to push up there. But if your home form's a bit dodgy, then you're going to struggle because, of course, all teams would like to play well at home, wouldn't they, really?
Yeah, and they always say that if you get a result at home, whatever you get away from home is a bonus. And I think if you can get 3 points at home and then maybe a draw or the odd win away, then you're well on form to, cause some other teams some upset and maybe climb up the league. But away from Bognor football, Peter, I know you're a Chelsea fan, as you mentioned earlier. Is it throughout the family, or is there a specific reason you support the Blues?
I was born in southwest London, so they were my local club. Well, it was either them or Fulham. But no, I chose Chelsea. It was a family thing, really. My dad used to take me to go and watch Wimbledon play a few times.
Okay. What, the original Wimbledon, the old Wimbledon, or the?
The original Wimbledon. It's not quite at Plough Lane, but at Selhurst Park. I actually was season ticket holder there for a few years. But Chelsea have always been my number one team, where I had the privilege of working for them for about 3 or 4 years.
Oh, okay. What did you do
as
there?
a football coach? I was a football coach for the football in the community side, really. So I've helped out at the soccer schools and went in after schools and done some coaching sessions. I went abroad not abroad. I went to coach German and Spanish children, which is good. And then, thankfully, I was managed to work there as ground staff for 2 seasons. Not as a head ground staff, but as a helper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to see all the home games, which was good. And my brother-in-law was a big Chelsea fan before he moved to Australia. Of course, he still is a big Chelsea fan, but you can't see the matches now. He was a season ticket holder, so I went with him a few times. I've been to quite a lot of FA Cup finals, Community Shields. So, Chelsea would always be my number one league team. But, of course, now Bognor's here. I've got another love, which is good.
Yeah. And a lot of Bognor fans do. There's a lot of Bognor fans that support Chelsea, particularly on the coach. When we go up, there's a lot of people following how they're getting on, and yeah, it's great. I don't, as I say, I don't really follow any other teams. The only other team I used to follow was Pompey, but because they're the only other team I've been to see. But because I'm constantly with Bognor and going to see them home and away like you do, I just get I'm all about Bognor now. I don't really care about the other teams. I do watch some football on TV. I've just recently invested in a BT Sport, so I can watch a lot of the Premier League games, the FA Cup, Champions League, Europa League. How do you feel about the Chelsea situation at the moment? Because obviously Thomas Tuchel has taken over and Lampard got the sack. Of course, I was shocked at that. Were you?
I wasn't really. No, I'm I'm quite a brutal supporter, really.
Was it because of the lack of silverware, the lack of?
No, it wasn't that. I just think something was going on behind the scenes where something wasn't right. Of course, I love Lampard to bits. I would never slag him off. I would never slag it. Like he's been up there with one of my favourite Chelsea players since I've been watching them. So no, I would never have a bad word to say about Lampard. But I think he took the job too early. He could have done with a few more seasons in Championship or Scottish football, just like Steven Gerrard. But of course, now Chelsea are looking at a different team where we've got that spine of the team back. Like Kante's back to his old self. The back three is playing outstanding.
I was going to say that the defensive side has improved, it seems.
Yeah, well, definitely. It's one of them ones where with Lampard, and he had these players who he wanted to play in that position. Well, Tuchel's given Christensen back, Rudiger back, and we're doing it without Silva too, Liam. Yeah. Everyone thought Silva would come in and be, but of course, due to his injury, Christensen and Rudiger have had the chance. And as a back three, we've actually looked like not conceding any goals, which to beat Atletico Madrid and not concede, to win at Anfield and not concede, to play Man United twice this season and not concede a goal is always a positive where hopefully we can continue. And we've got Porto in the Champions League. Of course, it's going to be hard, but it's the favourable draw out of them all, really. So yeah. I can see us winning that. And then semi-final of the Champions League. I wouldn't have thought that at the start of the season with Chelsea's defence, but now we actually look like we're up there again,
Yeah, I think you could get to the final. It's whether who you're going to be facing. I think Bayern and Man City are looking quite good this year, aren't they?
Yeah, well, if Chelsea beat Porto, and then they play either Real Madrid or Liverpool. So there's no easy game in the Champions League. But of course, if you had to play either Real Madrid, Liverpool, Bayern Munich, or Man City, you would choose probably Real Madrid first and then Liverpool.
Yeah,
because we've proved this season that they can be beaten. And I think Bayern Munich are always going to be the team to beat in the Champions League, and then Man City. And then I think after that, if anyone else wins it, I think it could be anyone out of the Chelseas, the Borussia Dortmunds, the PSGs. I think any of them can win it if Bayern Munich and Man City don't. But of course, I'm hoping Chelsea do, which would be nice.
Yeah, I watched the Barcelona PSG games, and wow, PSG blew Barcelona out of the water. I've not seen that in a long time.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's safe to say that Barcelona and Real Madrid aren't the force they were in Europe.
They're an aging team. I think both sides are aging in terms
of
players, but
it's one of them ones, isn't it, where I think in Spanish football they play till they're like 35, 36, but of course you're going to need them youngsters to push you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To come in and help out.
Definitely. There's been a lot of discussion between fans recently as to who is the right person to take the club forward. I'm talking about Bognor obviously now into the future. Who would you like to see at the helm if Jack Pearce decides to step down from being manager?
Well, I said it on the group before that Blakey, of course, is fantastic. It'll be tough to keep hold of. I think as it stands, he's happy at Bognor, which is good. So, because of course everyone knows what's happened with Portsmouth and stuff. Portsmouth seem like they've gone their own way and their coaches. So the Cowley brothers are there now, and they've got their own staff they want to bring in, which is good because that kind of puts Blakey out of the question there. Which I think Blakey has to stay. Really, I think he's quality. He's a nice guy on and off the pitch. He's a good manager. He's passionate. But I said before in the group to mention Croney again. I would like to see Croney as well as a coach.
Yeah, I think he will go transition into that eventually.
He can, like last season, he was basically doing it anyway because, of course, he had his injury again, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And we could see him and hear him in the stands or on the bench, helping out Robbie when he could. And the players listen to Croney, and if the fans are unhappy in somebody, then it would be nice to see people that the fans like. And I know if Robbie can stay, and then even if, well, there was talk about Michael Birmingham coming back and Jamie Howe. Of course, Jamie Howe's involved with our youth setup.
Yeah.
Dabber as well. Dabber, he's not really happy at Chichester. I don't even know if he's at Chichester anymore, is he?
Not sure at the moment. It's a bit up in the air as to what's happening there. I believe Miles Rutherford's is still there, but I don't know about whether he's looking to move on or change
Miles Rutherford,
role.
The Steve Lees as well.
Yeah,
I think there's been so many names mentioned that I think as long as Blakey stays, then the fans will be happy, and then whoever comes in to help him as coach will be a good coach, But if Blakey can be the manager, well, I'm not saying I want Jack not to be manager, because Jack can still have a part to play in the team. But it'd be nice to see Blakey as first team manager, and then somebody like a Dabber or a Croney or somebody like that to come in as coach. But no, it'll be interesting to see if we're actually thinking of getting any other coaches and nearer the season. I don't know if there's any talk of it yet, but of course Jack's not getting any younger, so it might do him well just to take a step back and to let Blakey and whoever go forward and take the team forward.
I think in terms of Robbie Blake, I think he's got unfinished business with Bognor, and I think he really wants to stamp his authority on the team and maybe push them up into the next league. I think that's his overall aim, really, when you look at it. Jack is I think he's starting to sort of give the role to Robbie, but I don't know. Obviously, Robbie might get a lot of job offers from elsewhere. So there is those other names you've mentioned. I think they're all. And what's good to know is that all the players and the people that associate with the club that have been involved or are still involved with the club that I've interviewed so far are all really keen to see either be involved again with Bognor in a managerial or coaching responsibility. But it's so good to hear them say, that they follow how we're getting on. The likes of Jamie, I'm talking about, obviously, and Croney, obviously, all wanting to stay involved with the team, long term and in the future. But they're all very supportive and complimentary of Robbie Blake and Jack. So I see both ends of the argument, and it's difficult to sort of choose who I think would be ideal for us. I know Dabber left obviously after a long stint with the club, and I think he needed a different path at the time. I know he's had some personal issues recently that have happened, unfortunately. So that's probably why he's not been sort of considered recently. But I know there's a lot of people, a lot of players, including David Wright, who's an ex-player. He wouldn't say no to it. Obviously, John Price, who was our defender years ago, he's keen. So there's so many players and ex-players that would happily take the role. But Robbie Blake, though, he's been doing a good job. You can't really, unless he gets called up elsewhere, I can't really see him moving on yet.
Well, yeah, fingers crossed there. I think because he's such a well-known name in football, I think that's what is... it wouldn't surprise me if somebody came in for him because he's such a well-known name, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
he could do it at a higher standard, it's obvious. But to start off at Bognor and to do good things at Bognor, I think, because Bognor played the way he likes playing. You know what I mean? He takes the criticism if Bognor can see the goal from playing out from the back. He's just he's a learning coach. He's still learning as well. And I think to learn from Jack's been in football for so long, he's a good person to learn off, But I think because he's played in the Premier League, he's played at a high level for so long, he knows how to get the best out of players. So,
and he's already got that respect from the players, hasn't he? Given that he's played that
100%,
level.
100%, and he's never afraid to say when a player's done something wrong. Where he won't criticise. He will give constructive criticism. You know what I mean? He wouldn't just say, "Oh, this, that, and the other." He would do it in a constructive way to try and make the players improve. He won't just slag off a player, and he doesn't fall out with the players, which is good. Where in the past, of course, players fall out with management, and then the management are under pressure, and then the players leave, and then the manager's under pressure, and then it all ends up all going Pete's on. But I think if we can get Blakey to stay, because I don't think it's Blakey wants to go, but I think if he gets an offer from another team, a higher team, it would be hard to turn down. But hopefully he's happy at Bognor at the moment, and hopefully I can see him soon and do an interview to see if anything's happening at the moment. Any news on any new signings and stuff.
Yeah, that'd be good, Peter. If you can get hold of him and get an interview done, that'd be great. Everybody listen to it.
Yeah, no, it'll be good to see. But all in all, if Blakey can stay, then I think that's our main priority, is keeping Blakey, getting that team sorted out, getting the players in early, getting a pre-season under their belt. Hopefully Chad can come back and be fit. Calvin can come back and can be fit. We can get Joe Hancock fully fit. And then we'll start looking at Force again, really, where we only need about 3 or 4 more players just to get that team where Blakey wants it. Because he's always saying the team last season, he was looking for new players. In his interviews, because if you've got competition on the bench, then that's when you start to get the best out of players. Because if you're playing and thinking, "Oh, my place is safe, I can have a crap game and I'll be in the team next week," then the players aren't going to learn anything. But if they've got that competition on the bench where they think, "Oh, I've got so-and-so on the bench," like if you're one of our midfielders and then you've got Jake Flanagan on the bench, you've got, "Oh, God, I better play well today because Jake's on the bench. Like, if he can always start instead of me." You know what I mean? It's always good to have that competition. And Geordi up front is, "Oh, I've got Jason on the bench. Kane, if Kane stays as well." It's good to have that competition. Bradley as well. Bradley's got that competition. It's good to have that competition. It's healthy, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I've always thought that. I've always thought that if you, and I always sort of look at the team sheet sometimes when we've got 2 or 3 on the bench, and I think, we haven't necessarily got all the options on the bench if there's any major injuries or sending offs or anything like that. So to have that depth is important, I think.
Yeah, 100%. It's important in any team, really, from Premier League all the way down to non-league. If you can get that strong bench, then you can, and it's good because in non-league football you play Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. It's impossible to play all the games, so it's good to have a player that can come on and play that, and then a player can be rested. You know what I mean? So if Joe Cook has a little knock, you can bring in Joe Hancock, someone like that, So it'd be good to see if we can get that competition back on the bench. And then you can think, if there is a substitution, it's not going to weaken us, it's going to strengthen us,
Yeah, definitely. Recently, I know that you were involved in a big group of fans that went down to the ground to do a bit of a clean up around behind the Wednesday stand and did some weeding and things like that. Can you tell us a bit more about that and how many people were there?
Oh, well, I think in total we had 28 people that went to help, which was unbelievable, really. Of course, it's a Saturday, people were working and people are with their families or busy with other stuff. So to get 28 people down there, Dave Robinson was like the leader in a way. He was giving up the instructions, which was nice. He was making the teas, the coffees. He had some cakes down there as well. Some people were doing different bits. Like some people were doing the weeding and putting some stuff in wheelbarrows and putting it in the skip. Heavy lifting was involved, which was good because we had so many of us. So we had lots of people to help lifting. We had somebody, I forgot the guy's name. I'm useless with names, as you know, Liam, but we had a guy cutting up the metal so people can come and collect it. It was, and from the time we got there at 9:30 in the morning, so I left at around 1 o'clock-ish, 1:45, 1 o'clock. So I was there for a
quite
good
a way because it was started in the morning, didn't it?
Yeah, I was there for about 3 hours. We were sorting out quite a lot of stuff where if you go to the ground now, of course, there's still a lot to be done because there's a lot of stuff to be removed. So hopefully by Monday and Tuesday, that can be gone. And then I might be going on Tuesday to help paint the lines in the car park, which is good to help.
For the car park spaces?
Yeah, for the car park spaces, yeah. So I'm going to be going down Tuesday to help Dave out because I'm off that day. So if I can help out, I can really. And all the fans that helped out yesterday it just shows what a family club Bognor is, you know, and how well liked the club is. Because on a Saturday morning, on a weekend off, you'll probably just want to stay in bed, you know what I mean, or do something different. But to go and help out with heavy lifting and putting grass into skips and sorting out the metal, sorting out the bonfire. There's going to be a bonfire there, and sorting out all what needs to be binned and what doesn't. The weeding.
Anything worth selling there, Peter, or not for the club?
Well,
no scrap metal or anything we can get rid of.
Scrap metal. I don't know if. Well, I'm sure they have got somebody coming to take it, but no, there is a lot of scrap metal there where. Obviously, I think if we can get some money towards that, then that will help the 12th man fund and the players fund.
Yeah,
which all helps really. But no, it was good to see so many people at the ground after not seeing them for so long. And the new groundsman was there. He got some pictures with Tommy McMillan.
Oh yes, James Askew.
Yeah, James Askew. Yeah, I didn't have a chance to speak to him, but I know Tommy did, and he got a few pictures of him and Brian. Of course, Brian was there too, just to help out. Yeah, no, it was good. Everyone that was there helped out. We had Jack. Jack was lifting stuff, and Simon was there as well. So it was good to see some of that, the board members and the management helping out. Of course, I was expecting Blakey to be there. Was hoping to get an interview, but obviously he got held up or was busy with other stuff. So hopefully I can catch him soon and have an interview with him.
No, it'd be good to hear that, Peter. And as we head towards hopefully an uninterrupted season very soon, what would be your words of encouragement to the fans, some of which might be struggling at this time, of course, to end this interview at this time?
Well, if anyone is struggling, my social media, my phone's always on. As you know, Liam, I'm a chatty person. I pretty much chat to anyone, but I'm a positive guy as well, If anyone's feeling down, then don't think that you can't talk to anyone. Always make that time. But people will always make that time for you, If you want to talk to somebody, then do, because it could help you get it off your chest. If anyone wants to talk to me, of course, I'm on Twitter @PenaltyPete. I'm on Instagram as well and Facebook. So, yeah, if you want to get in contact with me, even just for a chat, I'm more than happy to. It'll be good to meet new people and talk to new people. So, yeah, sending the positive thoughts to everyone and hopefully see you all soon at the lane.
Yeah, my sentiments exactly, Peter. And many thanks for joining me today. I hope to see you down at the lane very soon. And obviously for this episode of On the Rocks. Hopefully we'll be back soon to enjoy more football at Nywood Lane and at grounds across the UK in the near future. Keep doing a good job on Rocks Radio and continue to support the Green Army.
Cheers, Liam, mate. Appreciate it. And
yeah, it's been great to have you on. I know you wanted to be involved in an episode, so
yeah, no, it's good to see all the hard work everyone does behind the scenes. So everyone that does all the hard work and the radio and helping out yesterday, the podcast, media side, it all does go. It all gets noticed, and it's all appreciated.
Appreciate that, Peter, and thanks for joining me again. And again, thanks to our sponsors, Mitchell's Travel. Call the friendly team today on 01243 939 555 and book your favourite holiday today with Mitchell's Travel. And don't forget to quote Rocks 1883 to help your our football club in the same process. Don't forget to subscribe to Rocks TV for free, the home of On the Rocks podcast on YouTube. This has been an On the Rocks podcast production brought to you by the BRTFC Supporters Club Until next time, thanks for listening and stay safe. Up the rocks.